Sorry, just saw a familiar face. And what that means is that when you go camping, you're hiking, you're out in the wilderness, that if you happen to get lost, we can come find you. So help us out, get lost, okay? We need a job. But that's only one type of search and rescue. There are 7 different disciplines, and wilderness or open area is but one. You also have tracking or trailing, which is one of the things that we're going to demonstrate, which is also something that we specialize in. You have urban, and for example, if you have someone, you have a loved one that happens to have Alzheimer's or has dementia or something like that, and they wander off from the house or a home and they're out in the community, the dog can actually trail or track and find them, and that's done because of scent detection and article detection. We also have water, avalanche, and cadaver, which we also train in. And unfortunately, cadaver means that we're looking for a deceased person or body parts. You also have disaster, which is another form of urban, and you're probably familiar with that from 9/11 in Japan, where there's piles of rubble and they're looking for hopefully survivors, but 9 times out of 10 it's not the case. So there are all kinds of different methodologies and training. What we're going to demonstrate today is trailing and tracking, and we're going to take you through a process. It's very hard in a demo situation to actually show you how the workability takes place. So for a demo, we kind of set it up in stages. The first thing that you're going to see is where the beginning stage of actually training the dog to do trailing or tracking, followed by the advanced steps that go along with that. Once we've demonstrated the trailing tracking, we will be demonstrating an open area, and I'll be asking for a couple of volunteers from the audience. So, if you have any questions, please, when we're done with the demonstration, don't hesitate to ask. Any of us that you see with the MCSARD hat and uniform on will gladly answer your questions. Also, we have trading cards for our dogs. So if you haven't got them, please feel free to collect them and collect them for all the dogs and spread the word. Remember, we are a volunteer organization, nonprofit, and if you'd like to help support us so that we can go out there and support our communities, donations are always greatly accepted, and there's a bin over at our booth. Our booth is located over by the food. We also, if you have a dog, have any interest in search and rescue, it is a commitment. However, it's very rewarding, and if you would like to find out if your dog has the ability to do it or volunteer with our group, there's also a sign-up sheet, and we'll gladly talk to you about that and send you some information. All right, here we go. Our first team up is Brenda and Dusty. Now, you notice Dusty's nose is a little lower to the ground. Normally, we would not have the cones out there with the scent articles, but for demonstration purposes, we want to be able to show you where it's at. And if you look, you can pretty much see in the dirt that there is a trap. And now, who laid this trap? He's sitting on his body. So what people don't realize is as we walk around every day, we are dropping tens of thousands of skin cells. That's scent for these dogs. So when we sent an article for training purposes, in armpits, groin, under the feet, and ladies, for you guys, are broad. We know how that goes, right? We're always sweating. Those are great places to sweat, okay? And that's what creates the scent. Now the wind, there are numerous factors that affect scent and how it works and how the dog's nose works. And if you notice, we're getting a little stronger breeze. Sometimes you may see the dog's nose drift off of this track and go to the left or the right, depending upon the breeze to where the scent article is. Now in Dusty's case, what Dusty was demonstrating was the very beginning piece of actually using scent and report. So at the cone, there's a scent article hanging out of the cone, and right next to it was a piece of food. Dusty works for food. You're going to see some of our other dogs actually work for toys. Okay? Some will even work just for the frame, because they love to do it. Nicely done, Brenda. You notice Dusty is barking, okay? And that bark is saying, I found you. You gotta come up. Then you gotta pull this. Put that in there. I'm just doing it. Alright. So now, our next team up is Molly with Tia. Now, in our group we have Lamborghinis and Ferraris. Okay? You'll notice how Dusty was a little more slow and methodical. Well, Tia here does two things. The tracking, trailing, but she also does open area, and you'll see that a little bit later. But in order for Molly to slow Tia down, and you notice she's ready to go to work. That's all drive. Okay? So we're going to let Tia get started. Now, you'll notice that Molly is having Tia lay down next to the article. As I mentioned, in the real world when we do training or we find articles, there's not going to be a coon there that's going to tell you that there's a fake article. So after you teach them to detect consent and tell you that there's an article or an object there, you teach them to sit down next to it so that you know that it's fake. All the way, good girl, yay! And there's a boy with Tia working for that. Got her going.
Good girl, T!
So you heard me mention the team when they come up. And teamwork is really important. The dog has the nose, and it's the tool that we use to actually find the person. But we're the other half of that team, and we're providing the leadership. And as we continue with the demo, you'll see how that leadership really comes into play. Alright, so we had the Ferrari and here's our Lamborghini. It's another one, and you'll see because they're both going to demonstrate tracking and open air. But this is our team, Raven and Tony, and they're going to show you the next step in how it goes. And Raven gets her frisbee. Nicely done. Now, Raven's a Malinois, a Belgian Malinois. So you've seen some Malinois and you've seen some Shepherds. Now, are you ready for a surprise? Here comes a poodle. So, guess what? It's not breed specific. It's about the nose and what they want to do and what they have a desire and willingness to do. Yeah, and what's happening right now is you'll notice their noses are a little higher off the ground. And part of that has to do with the conditions. There are a lot of things that we as handlers have to learn about, and it has to do with terrain and wind, environment, and all of those conditions. And right now the wind has picked up a little bit, so the scent is coming off of the ground and moving up a little. Okay? So each one is going to act a little bit differently, and the longer it sits here and the more the conditions change, the more the dogs are going to work differently. All right, Brian, come out of the tent, please. Oh, just show yourself and then pop back in. That's right, I did. All right, so you can see there really is somebody inside that tent, okay? All right, now we're going to transition, and we're going to show you the difference with open area. Now you notice with the trailing and the tracking, the dogs were on leash. They're close to their handlers. In real life, in a real search, those long lines, the dogs would be out at the end of the long line and the handler would be a little further away, but the handler would be very close, okay? You also notice that the dogs are taught to bark at the victim. That's called victim loyalty. When we do open area, it comes into play very much because as we have our Ferraris and our Lamborghinis, and then we have our slow methodicals, when they get out and they get on scent, they're going to take off. And they could be very far away from you, and they're going to bark until you get there. That's an alert. That's one type. The second is also known as a refine, where they find the person and they come back to you. And you will see both of those demonstrated today. So this is John and Luke, our team. And Luke, by the way, he's a combination of the Ferrari and the Lamborghini. He just wants to go, and he's working for that toy. So here we go. You ready? And they will learn from one another. Luke has been standing back here watching. There we go. So he looked back at John, and when he barked, and what John's doing is just reinforcing that loyalty. And there we go, and that's what Luke's working for. Now you notice his nose never went to the ground, it stayed in the air, and he took off and went, right? Luke's not wanting to give up that toy now. He's like, I worked for it. I earned it. Okay, you ready? All right, our next team is Dave and Casey. And Casey's a younger dog here. So we hope Casey decides not to turn into puppy at the moment and actually go to work. But again, this is open area. Now, if you notice, Dave is actually using his arms and his voice to direct the dog into going into the direction. You think she found him? Nicely done. Yay, Casey. Casey, 2.5.
She started early.
But you notice her reward is a tennis ball. And again, not a shepherd, not a poodle, not a Malinois, but a golden. Alright. Alright, I got cat, so I'll throw cat in. Alright, now you've seen one poodle. Here comes another one. Okay, and this is Cat with Daisy. Now these tents represent as if somebody was camping out in the wilderness, but they can also represent if somebody had hidden in a cave or around a tree or fallen in a boom, and the dogs are going to check out each, which is what you just saw with Daisy. She went from one to the other and was working. All right, Ryan? So, who would like to volunteer for me to play decoy? Alright, I got two. Come see me over here. Come on out, Ryan. So hang on 1 second. Alright, what's your name? Tyler? Tyler. Yeah. Alright, so Tyler has graciously volunteered to get lost for us. So thank you. And I'm going to tell you what to do here in just a minute, okay? All right. All right. And my second volunteer, where are you? Come see me. Come around this way. Come around this way. You don't take directions well? Okay. All right. So what I'd like you to do is yeah, but I think I'm going to move you a little bit differently. The back corner, if you can just sit on the grass back there where the electrical and the piping is, that would be awesome. Okay? Alright, so now we're going to make it a little more challenging. In our previous demonstrations, we had one lost individual. Now we're going to have two. Alright, and our next team is Candace and Gracie. Now, this is a refind. If you notice, Grace went in, found Tyler. Tyler, stay there for me. Tyler, stay there. Stay in the tent. Okay, so Grace found Tyler, came back to Candace, barked and told her that she found him, and then took Candace right into Tyler. Okay. We do. Please find your second. So in real life, we could have multiple lost victims and they immediately after making a find have to go back to work. Now Grace knows somebody is in there because there's lingering scent, but she's also having to discriminate the different, oh Grace. Now, so what this is saying is just like that scent article, right? There's scent in that tent. She's discriminated that there's scent in the tent. That reward, it's not a false. So she's going to get a reward there, even though there's not somebody in there, because she told her handler that there was scent there. In real life, that article could be related to a crime or a lost person. Okay? Okay, Candace, put her back to work. And there we go. Now you'll notice, if you're watching these dogs, their body language changes as they are actually in the scent cone and finding the person. Nicely done. Okay, stay there for me if you would, please.
That's what you do. Yeah. Come here. Huh?
Yeah, Candace, turn it up.
Oh, good girl.
All right, we got 4 minutes. All right, we're going to make a little change in our schedule here. One of our founding members, Jim, is here with Lady, and even though Lady has had some surgery because they've discovered that she has cancer in her hip, she's chomping it to bits over here to go to work, and we're going to honor Jim's request and let Lady work. And this is a kind of tough one, because, yeah, we're going to let Dave take Lady, but I actually handle Lady, so, yeah.
I'll be the guest. Okay, I'll be the guest MC. Mary taking Lady out. Lady's a veteran. She's a grizzled veteran of the organization. One of our favorites. See how she has her nose down a little bit? She has the ability to do ground scent, or tracking, and air scent. Always been very enthusiastic. So she goes to the place where there is strong scent, because Ryan was in that tent for quite a while. Okay, so she's made her find. Now she expects her reward. See what she's demanding that of us. Come on, give me the toy. She doesn't. These dogs don't work for compassion. They work for reward. It's their toy. That's probably what Lassie did too. He didn't care about Timmy in the well. He wanted the toy when he found Timmy. That's true. So Lady still has it, so congratulations, Lady. Oh, we're going to look to see if there's somebody else out here. See, feel that wind coming toward you? So there should be a pretty strong scent cone coming from that tent. She picked up that scent and went right to it. Okay. Now she's doing the bark alert. That's what we teach the animals. They do the bark alert, they get the reward. Another successful search for Lady.
Lady also has a very special job. Lady trains all our rookie handlers and helps them overcome their handler errors. So thank you very much for volunteering and helping us out and playing last person. Oh no, they're not scared. They just know not to come and pounce on you, and if there's an unsafe object, to avoid it a little bit. All right, thank you. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask us.